We now have a keynote address from Sri S.S.Naganand, who is the trustee of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I must say it is quite a daunting task to stand before an audience of devotees from every part of the world, all of whom have come here only for their love of Bhagwan, not for me or the Central Trust or Dr. Reddy or anybody else. So the whole world, the whole universe is here. And among the members of the universe, the people who are here are the holiest ones, the most pious ones, and the ones who are seeking to advance spiritually. So when Dr. Reddy asked me to be a speaker and said I should give the keynote address, I told him, please don't call it the keynote address. It should just be called a few words by one of the trustees of the Central Trust. I was thinking what I'm going to say, and when Dr. Reddy handed over to me a few days ago 2 volumes for me to read, unfortunately I was holding it in my hand, and when I left Kulwant Hall, those books were left behind in Kulwant Hall, and when I went back to the room, I was wondering where did I leave it. So it's only yesterday that I got those books back, and when I saw them, I realized the immensity of the task that the Sathya Sai International Organization has been doing and is proposing to do. There are really no words that can express the enormity of the task and the fantastic achievements that have been done by the team led by Dr. Narendra Reddy. And I have no hesitation in requesting all of you to raise a lusty cheer and clap for all of yourselves. Dr. Reddy spoke about seva. I remembered a Subhashita from Bhartruhari. This is what he says. Paropakaraya vahanti nadyaha, paropakaraya duhanti gavaha, paropakaraya phalanti vrukshaha, paropakararthamidam shariram. It is only for the benefit of the other people and for helping others that rivers flow, that cows give milk, that trees bear fruit. Therefore, when God has blessed you with human birth and a body, you must use the body only for the good of other people. This is exactly what the Sai organization is doing. The International Sai organization, blessed by Bhagwan, was set up to actually take the message of Bhagwan to every part of the world. Now, Swami, in his infinite compassion, set up many institutions in India. And these institutions, the whole object of those institutions is not to glorify Bhagwan. It's not that Bhagwan needed any of these institutions for his own glory or for anything else. All of these institutions were clearly earmarked for the redemption of his devotees. You look at the Sathya Sai Seva organization, Swami did not want free labor to come here and do some seva in his projects. He wanted every single devotee to feel that he has to do something so that he redeems himself. And what is it that one can do? In the seva organization, one can do anything. Any good thing that Swami has got. You can be a spiritual worker, you could be a hard manual worker, you could be a planner, you could do anything that is good for the society. And that's how Swami actually devised the whole system. Now, if you look at the international organization, I think the object is more or less the same thing. It is, one, to enthuse people and show them what is the path to reach the divine Godhead? The path is very clear, and I said yesterday at the speaking at the opening of the birthday celebrations that all of us are here because we want to do some sadhana. What is that sadhana that we have to do? We ask ourselves that, and we just look at Swami's discourses, and we clearly get an answer for what sadhana we have to do. The sadhana is to uplift ourselves. The sadhana is not to uplift somebody else. Just like how the Taittiriya Upanishad says, when you have to give, Shraddhaya deyam, Ashraddhaya adeyam, Shriya deyam, Bhiya deyam, Samvida deyam. It is all deyam is to give. It is talking about every one of us giving something. How we should give, in what manner we should give, with what devotion we should give, with what state of mind we should give. What should we give? We should give of ourselves. And how should we give? Of course, Swami has dealt with this in a number of discourses. And Swami's main emphasis is that you should do service with love. There is no service without love. Dr. Reddy just now mentioned about many social organizations which also do service, but what is lacking in them is the infusion of love into their activity. Now, what exactly is this means of serving with love? Let's examine that. Serving with love means that whatever action you do, you must make somebody else happy. You must not have yourself at the forefront. What you do should help somebody else, and what you say should make somebody else happy. Now, in the course of doing some service, if you say or do something which is demeaning to the person in front of you, which makes that person feel a bit odd, then that seva is no seva, because you are not infusing it with love. Same way in our personal conduct. How should our personal conduct be? Swami used to say, you can always speak obligingly. What is the meaning of that? If you have to interact with people in your day-to-day life and in your life in ashram and elsewhere, you must always do things, look at it from their point of view. If you say something, many times, I'll narrate a small incident and go on. There's a very really big industrialist in India. I think he had something like about 20,000 people directly working under him, and he was a multi-billionaire. One day, a very senior person in the organization called me and said, this gentleman wants to visit the ashram. Can you please arrange for his darshan? Of course, Bhagavan was here at the time. I told him, yes, sir. Darshan is possible, but beyond that, please don't ask anything. I said, no, he just wants darshan. So then I sort of spoke to a few people and then gave a letter also. He came here, he went to meet the gentleman. The gentleman was sitting in his office. The letter was given to him. He looked at the letter, kept it like this. Come tomorrow, he said. So this gentleman very quietly went away and, managed to stay one more day and came next day. And then asked again, said, sir, yesterday I have come for darshan. Okay, you come for darshan, you come at this time somewhere. And he came there, he was made to sit somewhere, he had his darshan, and then after darshan he came to thank him and said, thank you sir, I came, I had good darshan. No, you don't have to thank me, you have come to see Bhagavan. And he just said, you may go now. Now the gentleman, I did not meet him for some time. Few months later, I had occasion to speak to him, and I said, oh, sorry, I didn't ask you, how was your visit to Prashanti Nilayam? So he said, I had wonderful darshan, beautiful darshan. But the greatest lesson I learnt, I must thank you for it. I said, what is that? He said, my visit to Prashanti Nilayam was an ego reset button for me. He said, in our secular world, we have everybody at our beck and call. If I have to just raise my hand, 10 people come standing and asking me what I can do. If I go to the airport, my check-in is already done and somebody is waiting for me at security gate. This is the kind of life that we lead. But when we went there, we realized that when you go to God's house, you have to keep aside your ego, your personality, everything, and you have to wait in line, and God treats everybody alike, exactly the same. You're all put on the same line. So what I'm saying is, there are two ways of looking at it. I find this person is a great person because he looked at it from that point of view. Now, how many devotees who come to ashram think of it like that? How many complaints have you heard that, I went to this office, they did not treat me properly, I was standing in the line, they did not give me food, I was waiting for water, they said it's over, you please come back tomorrow. I asked for a room, they said I'll give you half a room. I asked for something else and they said this is not possible to be given in the ashram, we don't have this, so please go outside and stay in a hotel. Now, these kind of words we keep on hearing. So I think it is time, this has two phases to the whole thing. One is, how do you look at it? The very fact that so many of you have come from all over the world and that you have come here indicates that all of you don't really expect anything from here except the grace of Bhagwan. All of you have just come for Bhagwan. All of you will pardon every single person who comes in front of you and says things which has hurt you. Because I know many people would be hurt. All of you will say, okay, this person's, I just forget about it and let me concentrate on God. That is one way of looking at it. The second way is, how are we looking at it? How are the people in the ashram looking at it? How are the administrators looking at it? I must assure you that we are also looking at it in a different perspective. And our endeavor is to make this atmosphere in the ashram one full of love, one full of affection, one full of peace, one full of nice experiences for everybody who comes here. And that endeavor is always on. Now, the Sathya Sai Central Trust, I'm sure most of you know what the Sathya Sai Central Trust is. I'll very briefly tell you what it is. I'm sure you've read about it and it's very much available in public domain. But the main object of Central Trust is to do seva activities in certain specific fields. There's medical relief activity that is done. There are 2 specialist hospitals. There are 2 general hospitals, and now we have 2 mobile hospitals. In addition to that, a number of seva activities take place. There is the university, which is funded substantially by the Central Trust, which runs a completely free university from everything, from beginning till end, and all medical facilities are free. We have 2 schools directly run by the Central Trust, and we have a number of other schools which are supported by the Central Trust, which we call the Sai schools, which are also on the Vidya Vahini horizon, which is a different project, and for want of time I will not be able to talk to you about it. The Sathya Sai Central Trust also does some important projects of public significance like water supply and purification of water and village integrated development programs in coordination with the All India Seva Organization. All of these activities are centered around the concept of seva, and these have nothing to do with our setting any benchmarks or numbers or how many people to be treated and what is the value of the treatment. Dr. Reddy the other day was mentioning that there was a doctor from America who came here and he did procedures. Those market value of those procedures in America would be a few $1 million that he came here on his own with his team, brought all the equipment, went to the hospital, of course it was all planned in advance, did the surgeries. Why did he do that? What is it that Sathya Sai Trust gets from that? What Sathya Sai gets is only a big bill of expenses that we have to incur for doing all these projects. We get nothing in return. But the only thing that Swami set up these institutions was for all of you, all the people in the world, anybody who comes here, to come and see for themselves what exactly is happening here. How is it that we are able to have, on an average, over 1,500 Seva Dal coming to Puttaparthi day in and day out throughout the year? They are the people you see in the blue scarves that they come. They come from every state. They come from every nook and corner of India. They come at their own expense. They come and stay here in very basic accommodation that is given to them in a dormitory. They come and eat the food that all of us eat in the canteen. They spend their time. I have often interacted with them. They are from the lowest level of strata of society to the highest level. We have, very highly qualified people who come and do seva there. What is it that prompts them to come here? What is Central Trust doing for them? Central Trust is only providing an avenue for them to come and demonstrate their seva. This is only an environment that has been created by Bhagwan, which we are just following as it is. We have Mahajana yena gathasa pantha. If somebody says, which road will you take? Take the road where the great people have tread and walked. Very simple. Swami has laid the path, just follow it. We don't have to do anything more than that. Just follow the path that Swami has laid. That is exactly what the Central Trust is doing. Now there are number of demands, number of requests. Every day we are getting number of emails to say you should do this, you should do that, you should air condition all the rooms, you should build a big center, you should build this, that. Now you see, you must understand that this is an ashram, this is not a hotel. This is an ashram where you are supposed to come, spend your time in a very pious way. Some basic facilities are necessary. Those basic facilities are provided, and you should live here and suffer a little bit of physical discomfort also. That is very important. Without naming, I will mention, there are people who have served Swami for 30 years. They were living in a house spread over 2 acres with 25 rooms in that house. They came and stayed in the ashram in one room measuring 10 by 15 feet. That was the kitchen, that was their bedroom, that was their bathroom. They stayed like that for 25 years. They never felt like asking Bhagwan, just give me one more room so that if a visitor comes, I'll be able to sit there and talk to him. They didn't want the extra room for relaxing. If somebody comes to see them, where do they see them? You have to see them in the veranda, outside in the corridor. So they said, even that they did not ask. These are ideals, which we should remember, we should think of. What kind of sacrifices people have done here for Swami, all for their love for Swami. We must remember that. So my request is, please bear this in mind. Next, this is your father's house. All of us say, Swami is my father, he is my mother, tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhus cha sakha tvameva. You are very affluent, father has given you good education, you've gone to the land of milk and honey, you've got big bank balance. After 5 years, you're coming back to your house to see your father in his house. Father is living in the same old house. It's a small, tiny bit of a house. Will you come and stay in the 5-star hotel next to his house? Or will you come and stay in his house, see how he is living, and think for yourself, what is it that I can do to make my father a little happy in the surroundings in which he is living? I'm sure most of us would say, we would prefer to do the latter, not stay in the 5-star hotel, but stay with him, spend little time with him, see how I can make him feel a little comfortable. Now this is exactly what I want all of you to think about. We want a modern convention center in Prashanti Nilayam. All of you are coming from different parts of the world. It is important that you come here more often. This is like, you're all cars with electric batteries in it. Now if you don't come back here and plug it in and charge your batteries here, your batteries are going to run down very fast. So the greater amount of work that you do outside, your batteries are going to run out of charge faster. So if you're very active in seva outside, come back every month. If you're somewhat inactive, come back every 6 months. If you're totally inactive, you don't want the battery to become completely dead, come back at least once a year. So when you come back here, see yesterday, after so many years also, very rarely that when I sit in the mandir and I hear the mandir bhajans, very rarely that I don't have tears rolling down. It happens so often to me. Why does it happen? It happens because we are sitting in the immediate presence of a great phenomenon. We are feeling it. We are feeling that entire vibration of Swami being there, of looking at us. Sometimes we're just sitting during the Purnachandra Hall, the drama that was taking place. I was just leaning back and suddenly, a thought came that Swami is just coming from that side. You look at that. And then you sort of slowly come down to earth and say, well, it is, Swami's thoughts that are coming from there, not in his physical form. So what I'm saying is these are every day what we feel here. Though I come here so often, nearly every other week I'm here. But this thought is always there. Just imagine all of you coming back here. What a wonderful experience. And I should tell you, after reading the program, I'm really jealous about all of you. I'm jealous because unfortunately, I won't be able to stay here for the next 3 days to sit here and listen to the wonderful debates and talks that are going to take place in this and the workshops that are going to take place. I saw the number of people that are speaking. I know many of them. They're very inspiring speakers. They're people who are going to tell us what is the right path to do, how should we go about with seva all around the world. And it would be a wonderful experience for me to be here, but for certain reasons I won't be able to be here. I will try my level best to come back and attend at least a few of it. So going back to the convention center that we were talking about, there has been some discussion that we have had with the office bearers of the International Sai Organization. The perceived need of a modern international center for conventions to be held in Prashanti Nilayam, because Prashanti Nilayam is a spiritual capital. There are a number of projects that are on the anvil now. The archive building is ready, a research center is about to be set up there. Number of things are going to happen there. So as an adjunct to that, we do need all these facilities. So in principle, the land has been identified, the place is identified, the project is more or less discussed. The question is, when do we start? So I'm giving a volley of the ball into your court to say, please tell us when you are ready to start. As soon as you are ready to start, the project can start. I want to come to the last part of the talk that I wanted to say. So many years the Sathya Sai Central Trust has had a kind of a presence in Prashanti Nilayam with not much of presence elsewhere. Now, by Bhagwan's grace, it has been decided that there is going to be more interactions between the Sathya Sai Central Trust trustees and the international organization. The first of that is an invitation received from the Japan International National Organization to attend their annual sadhana camp. We also attended the Malaysian annual general meeting and these programs relating to that. We have already visited a few of our trustees, 4 of the countries, a 5th country also. Hopefully in the near future I'll be traveling to Latin America and visiting a country there, a couple of them. The idea is that we want to establish closer links with all of you wherever you are. We want to know exactly what are you doing, who are the devotees, how are the centers organized, what kind of programs do you have, what is it that you want, because this is, as you say, this is your parental place. Now, if the father goes to visit his son who is living in a faraway country, the son is going to receive him with great love and affection and show him around excitedly. Father, this is my house, this is my car, this is where I go to worship, this is my church, this is where I'm going to pray, this is our Sai center. We find the same kind of excitement when we went. We were overwhelmed by the hospitality that we received in every single country that we visited. Of course, it was a very hectic trip. We didn't have, I think we slept only 4 hours a night for the 3 weeks that we were there. But it was certainly worth it because we saw for ourselves the fantastic amount of devotion that was there in the Sai devotees. So I think this is something which you can look forward to, and the trustees of the Central Trust are really happy to go forward and see that we are actually going. Now, I will conclude by only saying, does the Sathya Sai International Organization have any wish list so far as Prashanti Nilayam and Central Trust is concerned? This is something which you must look at. If you do have a wish list, I would be deeply obliged if you can send that wish list along with the way and the how we can actually achieve that wish list. It's easy to ask for the moon, but if you tell me, I want to go to the moon, I'll say, certainly you can go to the moon, but please come with the intention and a good rocket which is also going to take you to the moon. So I would only very respectfully say that there are a number of things that we can do to improve. This is for the first time that I am actually meeting and addressing your World Conference. It's really impressive that you've organized this conference. And my intention is to make it clear to everybody, on behalf of the Sathya Sai Central Trust, we and you are one and same. There is no difference between Sathya Sai Central Trust and Sathya Sai International Organization. There is nothing like you are different from us, we are different from you. We don't say they will do something, we will do something. Answer is, all of us will do what we all think is best and ideal, so that Swami's message goes home to every part of the world. Why does Swami's message have to go everywhere? It's not that Swami wants to be seen as a photograph everywhere. Swami went on speaking for so many years in his innumerable discourses. When the Books Trust was formed, there was one thing to say, we must copyright all of Swami's speeches and we should not allow it to be taken by anybody free. I immediately put my foot down and I said, no, how can it be? Swami has been speaking for the world. So we must put it on the website and we must say anybody can take it freely. There is no restriction on taking Swami's words. That is our task, that is our role. And the Sathya Central Trust is here to look after the holy precincts of Swami here. It is our holy responsibility to see that the beauty and the serenity and the peace of this place is maintained. And we will do everything within our means to do that. And in doing so, we require cooperation from All India Organization, we require cooperation from international organization. And let's all say that we are one. That's the concluding message that I have. Thank you for a very patient hearing, and I thank Dr. Narendra Reddy for the opportunity. Jai Sai.